Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. It's Montez McCamish, and you are now watching itsmontez.com. We're going to talk about something pretty powerful. I know a lot of people use social media and use different apps that are available and things like that. I know that a lot of people are familiar with the different techniques that they have out there to connect with people, such as Facebook Live. You can use that. You have Snapchat. That's a good thing that a lot of people use, and as well as Periscope. Today I brought Emily on, and I'm going to let her talk to you a little bit about what she does and how she uses Periscope, and she'll give you a further in-depth about how exactly Periscope works. Because again, I keep telling people social media is a powerful thing, and having the certain and the good products to be able to connect with people is pretty powerful. Periscope is a powerful tool, and she uses it quite often, and I'm going to let her get in depth and tell you all exactly how it works and how you too can use Periscope and kind of build your community on whatever you're doing, whether it's your blog, your Facebook, your YouTube, whatever you're trying to build. Without further ado, Emily, nice to have you on the show.
Hey, can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear them.
All right, give me 1 second.
So she's gonna step away for a second. She had something that was playing there, but yeah. So like when everyone gets ready to listen to the show, I think that it'd be very informational, very powerful for everyone to have. A whole lot of knowledge for everyone to gain. And I hope that everyone can enjoy the show and get some knowledge out of what's going on. I hope that whenever you get this, somehow you can relate it and use it back to whatever you want to do. Like I said, you can use it for your blogs. You can use it for your
Sorry
social.
about that. I think it was playing on my computer. I was like listening to it. Okay, so Periscope. Yeah, so I started using it, I guess, a few months ago. And at first, I kind of started using it just to document like family things. So my one brother, he was like, he wanted to see some magic, and my husband, he likes to do card tricks, so he kind of did some magic. But then I started to realize that like, because I have a YouTube channel, that it would be a good opportunity to kind of meet new people, kind of like share what I do on a more casual level, because YouTube can kind of be more formal. You edit the videos. Periscope is a great way to kind of just talk to people in like your regular life and kind of just share the things that you do on a regular basis. So like
Right. So like I hear a lot of times, like a lot of people, they say, the situation of having a camera versus just your cell phone camera. I mean, like, as far as how that goes, like, can you like give the audience how that relates? Like, I mean, like, because again, you're just holding your cell phone, you're holding it in front of yourself. Like, how does that? I mean, is it kind of like, do you get less viewers? I mean, how does that work?
It's all dependent on the periscopes that you do. Like, it's all about the title that you put, hashtags that you use. So, and also the interest of the people that are watching at that time. Because different times, you're going to get different amount of people. So, like weekends, you tend to get more people. At night, you tend to get more people. You don't realize this is like an international thing. So, different people at different time zones. But like we did a PlayStation VR. We just got a PlayStation VR. So we did that. So I made sure I put like hashtag PlayStation, hashtag VR. So people, because you can put your Periscope on Twitter as well, so people can watch online.
Right. It's so phenomenal connected all together. You said you had VR for PlayStation now?
Yeah. It's like this crazy thing. I like basically almost got eaten by a shark.
Oh, wow.
It was terrifying.
Oh.
It was like, honestly, it was terrifying. But like, I got to share that experience on Periscope. That's not something I really put on YouTube because it was in the moment, and it was an opportunity to kind of be like, hey, this is what I'm doing today. Come share this with me. And then like, you can do clickbaity things. Like I did a clickbait one earlier where I got these free golf balls like in the mail. I have no idea why I got these golf balls, but I did. So I literally made a Periscope that said, fondling my new balls, ...
Right.
So it's not dirty at all, but the title is clickbaity. So people are like, wait, what? And then they click on it, and then they're like, oh. And then usually, if your personality is good, you know, you're like, oh, ha ha ha, they're golf balls.
Right. So like,
people will stay.
So then I guess like it's almost like the same concept within like YouTube. As long as you like put some kind of like informational, good title on there, and as long as it's something to do with the content, then people would click on it. Then, but as far as like when they're talking to you, like, do you normally stop in the middle of your conversation to answer them, or how does that go?
So it's very dependent on what is being said. Now, as a female, I do tend to get some vulgar comments, and the cool thing about Periscope is right away, if I feel uncomfortable, I can block a comment, and I can block that user so they can't make, oh, that's my cat, but they can't make any more comments. So I do like that. So if like someone's saying something inappropriate and I'm like, no, I can immediately block them, and then they can't make any more comments.
Well, that's pretty cool there.
Yeah, it really honestly is, because especially like like a lot of females tend to get a lot of the guys coming in making vulgar comments, and sometimes you just want to talk to people. And so sometimes, yeah, I will stop in the middle of conversation. And it was weird at first when I first started, because I was like, how am I going to do this? Like having a conversation with people, but then constantly stopping to make mention of things. But it's just like having a regular conversation with someone. You see that text, and you just respond like it stays on the screen for about 5 seconds, so you can read it, keep talking about whatever you're talking about, and then say it after.
Now, so like you said, there's a kind of way on there to where it's international, so a lot of people can get a hold of it. And like again, there are a whole bunch of pervs and stuff like that, you know, a bunch of creeps out there and stuff. So as far as that goes, I mean, like, is Periscope would you say predominantly you come up with situations of dealing with these kinds of things, and how do you deal with them other than just blocking them? I mean, like, is there, because I mean, I'm sure there's just like one after another. Like, how do you set the standard to get someone to understand that that's not, you know what I mean? Because I mean, I know a lot of women have that problem whenever they're starting and what they're doing. Because I've come through a couple YouTubers. They're like, man, all the guys, all they want to do is see skin and things like that.
Yep.
And I mean, I know that's a problem for a lot of people, and I was thinking maybe you might be able to touch on that a little bit and give us some information on how to overcome that.
So the way I try to overcome it is just with humor. And there was a situation that I had in a Periscope the other day, and I like this guy was just like, wow, you look delicious. And I'm like, thanks. And then he's just like, I bet you taste good. And I'm like, I like licked my hand. I'm like, I think I taste like a human. And then he just left the Periscope.
Right.
So pretty much if you don't feed into what they're saying, they'll eventually leave. And if you just like make fun of it, and you just kind of want to be like a regular person, you don't want a vulgar scope or anything like that, just have fun. So like I said, like when he said that, I'm like, okay, was I a little bit taken back by it? I'm like, yeah, but I knew I could do something that could be funny for other people in the scope, but at the same time, like make that guy realize, hey, I'm not really for this. And it was funny because other people were like, that was hilarious.
Right. Like set the standard of the room, and that's pretty cool. So when you're going in and you're making your Periscope, for people who are just now beginning to do their Periscope, how does one gain followers? I mean, like, that's a pretty hard thing, right? Because I mean, that's like, I know when I had a Periscope, I don't have a cell phone anymore. I used to have a cell phone when I had one. I had the S6, and it was pretty cool, you know. But when I had that, as far as getting the people, they'd come in, they'd watch for a little bit, then they'd leave. I mean, I don't think that I'm the most boringest person out here, you know what I mean? But I mean, how does someone gain their following? Like, I mean, and then use it towards whatever they're doing. Can you give us some knowledge on that?
Definitely. So what I suggest, and like the way I started, is you start off just, you know, maybe like a scope a day. If you're doing something, continuously scope. Because then people are gonna be like, oh, I want to follow this person. And that's why I have like a group of people who will go on like pretty much on my scopes. I'm like, hey, it's good to see you. How are you doing today? Or we're like, hey, you know, what's going on? And so you want to build your follower base by continuously doing things, continuously sharing different things in your life, like, hey, and then I make mention of future scopes that I want to do. Like on Friday, I knew that we were going to be getting the VR. So I was like, hey, I'm probably going to do a VR scope tomorrow. You know, if you're interested, follow me. I'm going to be doing it tomorrow. So kind of give like incentive about future scopes that you're planning on doing. I know some of my friends, one of my friends, he's a hypnotist, Drew Bissonette, he has a Periscope as well. And actually I have another friend, John Ways, he has a Periscope. You can follow them, but they do, yeah, I got to plug people, they're my friends. But what they do will be like, hey, I'm going to be doing a live hypnosis, you know, follow me. And then when I do it, you'll get a notification. So give incentive, like, hey, I'm going to be doing this soon. You should follow me. So when I do it, you'll get a notification. And that's actually the cool thing about Periscope. When someone is Periscoping, you can turn on notifications and you'll get a notification every single time they're on. And I know that some people have that turned on because they'll pop in and be like, hey, what's going on? And it's kind of cool because it's so much more personal than YouTube or Twitter or Instagram. Like, it's a way to connect with people on so much, like, a casual level. Like, people are like, hey, or on YouTube, people are like, Emily, that was a great video. And I'm like, no, it's M. But the people on Periscope know me as M because it's a more casual atmosphere and they see me in my everyday life.
I see. So like the everyday life thing is just like a pretty big influential on things. Like so then as other people, do they normally have the other social media sites as well? Because I know that's a big thing as well. A lot of people, I'll ask them, I'll say, hey, so they'll have YouTube. I'll say, do you have a Google Plus or do you have a Twitter or do you have these other things? And a lot of them like, no, I don't use my Google Plus. I just use YouTube. I mean, so like, do you run into that a lot on Periscope, or are these people that are on Periscope looking to connect on other social medias as well, or what's really the what's the environment feeling inside of Periscope? Because it's just kind of confusing to me.
It's honestly, it's just so over the place because I'll jump into other, and this is the thing about Periscope too. Like, people jump in and out of your scope. Don't take offense to it. That's the cool thing about Periscope is it's kind of like a Periscope. Like, you're peeking in, you're kind of seeing what's going on and kind of getting a glimpse into someone's everyday life. So it doesn't necessarily mean that someone needs to stay the whole time and watch you. It's kind of like Periscope is like a window and you're on a street and you see like a whole bunch of windows and you'll peek in everyone's window and just be like, hey, that looks interesting. Watch it for a little while and then maybe go to the next house and peek in there. And that's the cool thing about Periscope. And yeah, in terms of other things, it depends. Because I've seen people who literally just use Periscope to connect with people. And then, like I said, like me or some of my friends and other people would use it as an opportunity to showcase their skills and say, like musicians and stuff like that, like, hey, you know, I'm playing music. If you like this, I have a YouTube channel. Or, hey, I'm going to be doing a gig here. Or, like, you know, as a hypnotist, they're like, hey, you know, here's a free 10-minute live hypnosis. But if you really want to see me, you know, I have a conference coming up, or you can check out my YouTube channel, or like I have products or whatever.
Right. So like,
it's a good way to promote.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. It's a good way to.
Oh no, sorry. It's a good way to promote yourself if you are like a performer or an entertainer, whether it be on YouTube or like I said, a magician, musician, or whatever type of entertainment you do. It's a good way to promote yourself, but also it's just a good way for regular people to just kind of be like, hey, what's going on? I'm bored. Come hang out with me.
Right. So like, okay. So like in the age range, like what kind of ages do you normally see on there? Like, is it like, because again, it's weird, right? When you look into like YouTube and you look into some of the Facebooks and you look at things that people that are doing it for like a business and things like this, we'll find, especially Snapchat, you'll find a generation of Snapchat users that are just older. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like, and I'm kind of wondering, like, what's this like on Periscope? What's the ratio on age that you normally see on there?
I'm going to go from around 16 to about maybe like 40, but probably younger than that. It really is more like, I'm going to say teens, 20s, maybe a little bit into your 30s. But it really is young people. It's young people who are trying to connect with people in a way that older generations would probably not do. Because we know, okay, hey, we can connect with people on social media, we can connect with people online, and you're still going to get some sort of a bond, you're going to feel some sort of a connection. Where older people are like, But then again, that's not necessarily true, because my grandmom has a Facebook, so I can't say anything. and she posts on Facebook, so.
I like how the older generation is now kind of like, it's really a difference between like the older generation and younger generation, people that are using the internet to kind of excel themselves in whatever they're doing in their business and their life and things like that. And then when you get the kid that's on there, you'll find him on there doing just whatever he wants to do. Usually some of the things are not the most pleasant things, you know, that the younger generation might do on the line. But then I wonder when it is at age, the younger kids like, hey, I want to use this for something different. You know, whenever it comes to that, it's like, I don't know, something. Maybe if you all might ever have anything, and you all might know anything, and you have any suggestions on when the kid might change to actually use the internet in a different way, leave that in the comment box. You can leave that down there, and it'd be very much appreciated. But yeah, as far as like Periscope going in and using it on the day-to-day, then, so you use it every single day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day? How frequently do you use it?
It honestly, it depends on what I'm doing that day. Like, for example, I'll use this past week. So I don't know, for some reason I've kind of enjoyed doing it during my lunch break. So I get to come home during my lunch break because I live fairly close to work. And so I'll do like a quick 10-minute scope and be like, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, my day's going really good. How's your day going? And then you connect with people at that time. And then maybe later on, I'll be like, hey, I'm hanging out, having a drink. You know, what are you doing? And then, you know, I get a different crowd with that. And then, you know, like I said, over the weekend, I'm like, hey, we just got the VR, you know, come hang out with us, come see it. And then it's fun because people are like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. Like, I feel like I'm in there with you. The people honestly, they're like, I feel like I'm there with you. And that's why I like Periscope, because it's honestly like you're hanging out with someone. It's so different from YouTube. Like YouTube, you know, I'm sitting here, I've got my light, I've got my video camera, you know, I'm like probably pausing it, I'm making edits, where Periscope is alive. If you say something wrong or way, it's live. You cannot edit it.
Right. Now, can you go back and save the video and use it, or how does that work? Like, because I mean, on
yes, you can.
Hour staying, or how does that work?
So basically, so say we just did a Periscope ended, did your broadcast, available on replay. If to leave it up, you can immediately delete it if you choose to. If you're like, this doesn't really represent me, so you can delete it immediately. You can leave it up and say, you know what, this represents my channel. I enjoy this. I'm gonna leave it up. You can leave it up for as long as you want. You can have as many as you want. Actually limit the amount you can have. But before, I don't know when the update occurred. Now you can have as many as you want. If you want to have 50 replays, you can have 50 replays. And people can go in and out, you know, do whatever they want, you know, stop in. You can download it, but you have to download another app to download it.
Oh, I see.
Which I have done. So you download it, and then if you choose to upload it to YouTube.
Oh wow! So you can download it and upload it to YouTube then. Now, as far as how many times have you done that? And like what type of scenarios might you take it and then put it on YouTube?
So the magic tricks that my husband did at the family party that we had, I was like, this is actually really cool. People might like these, so I uploaded those to YouTube. The Periscope that I did earlier with the VR, when I got almost eaten by a shark and I was terrified and I screamed and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta make you stop because like the police are gonna get called because you're screaming. Like, I almost got eaten by a shark, Jeff, okay? This is a life or death situation. And so I'm probably gonna put that on YouTube.
Now, so like the VR, what can you give us a review on the VR? What do you have to say about it? Anything negative? Anything negative at all?
The only the negative thing I have is it is terrifying. Like, it is so realistic. You look up, you see things. You look anywhere, you turn around, it's everywhere. And then you have headphones in, and like, if you're someone like me, like, I'm a very imaginative person, I got completely wrapped up in it. Like, honestly, like, I was underwater. I did the ocean descent. So you're in a cage, and then you're like on a ship, and then all of a sudden this shark starts like biting the cage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like freaking out. And like, I was screaming. And I was periscoping at the same time, and Jeff's just like, oh my gosh, I gotta stop her, because I was like terrified. And when you get that absorbed into something with this whole virtual reality thing, Jeff came up, put his hands on my shoulders, and I like jumped. This is all on the Periscope if you really want to watch it. He put his hands on my shoulder, and I like jumped a mile in the air, and I'm like, I was not expecting, because the shark was about to eat me, and then he like touches me, and I'm like, oh my god. I was so scared.
Really real. Like, it really felt like it was real then. Like, because I've been hearing a whole bunch about this VR stuff, and that it's really gives you a totally different feel. So it really is just that, huh?
It is not a game. It is an experience. Like, it's like, I can't even, like, I'm not a gamer. If you ask me about games, I can't tell you anything. But this was crazy. Like, my heart was racing. This shark was like, it was in my face, and like, I could see its like body. It was crazy. Like, I recommend it to everyone, especially because I don't do the gaming thing, and it was crazy. Like, it blew my mind.
Think somebody should buy it. How much does a VR typically cost? The VR for the PlayStation?
It's a little expensive. The bundle that we got was like $500.
Woo! Woo! Fee fi fee.
But I will say, we use a website. It's called Swagbucks, and you can earn gift cards. And my husband, he did not spend a single actual cent on it. He used only gift cards.
Oh, wow. So how does the Swagbucks work? It's a little bit off topic, but how does that work? Swagbucks, save them up and then you spend them, or?
So Swagbucks is a website where you can take surveys, you watch videos, you do polls. It's like you do stuff like that, and then you earn swag bucks. And then after a certain amount, you can earn gift cards. And it's a great way, like, it's not really like a supplemental income, I guess I could say. But like, you can earn a fair amount on the website. And whenever we want to, like, we actually got our 4K TV using that. We use the website quite a bit. And so our 4K TV.
What's the website called again?
Swagbucks.
Swagbucks. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, don't take that down. If you are looking to do a little bit something on the side, check out Swagbucks. Emily's letting you all know. You can find it.
Oh, it's awesome. Like, it's honestly, like, it's seriously, like, we've gotten so much stuff from this website. Like I said, we got our TV, we got this VR, and what else we've gotten? We have 2 cats, so we got a cat tree with it too. But yeah, you can get like a bunch of little things. It's actually really nice because it's like, maybe you get like an extra like $100, $200 a month using it. So it's kind of nice.
Oh, wow. That's pretty beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
200 or no 200. I mean, I'd rather have the 200, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like, honestly, like, I put maybe in like an hour a day. Like, you can technically do it. Like, I can't do it at work, but I know that there are people who can on their computers. I don't know if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But in terms of like the amount of time and commitment it takes, maybe like an hour, maybe. So it's not great for people who have like kids or something like that, but you can do it. You can do other things too. Like if you're watching a TV show, you can do it during that.
Wow. You know, that's another thing that some people say is when you're having like downtime or whatever. So is it just like easy surveys? How many questions do you think are there usually, or videos, or how long does it normally take? Like about like 5 minutes per thing, or 10 minutes, or how long usually do it?
Between like 10 to 20 minutes. And the questions are easy, like, are you male or female? Are you between, ages 17 to 34? What's your level of education? What is your level of income, and it just all of its ranges. So you just pick the range that you're in, and then it classifies you. And then it might be like, what's your favorite beverage? And you'd be like, my favorite beverage is, Mountain Dew or whatever. So
right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty nifty. I've not heard of swag bucks, ladies and gentlemen.
Gotta check it out.
Swag bucks, check it out. Absolutely. So for Periscope, how do you use your people on Periscope? Like, how have they best helped you within your social media? Like, what have they been best for you to do? Like, utilize wise, I mean, not saying that this is what we only use them for, but you know what I mean? Like, how's it been best for you?
In terms of what I like to use Periscope for, one, it's actually been really nice because people who follow me on Periscope have actually followed me on YouTube, because they're like, wow, I really enjoyed you telling this story. I wanted to check up on your YouTube channel, and I really enjoy your videos. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Or like, you kind of like use it as an opportunity to like present your personality, like, hey, this is me. If you like me like this, maybe you'll like my YouTube channel.
Right. I can understand.
And then it's also a good platform to kind of like toss ideas out. So like me and my friend Drew, we're going to be doing a series. It's called Sexy Scenarios, the D&A. And it's basically, have you ever heard of those Craigslist encounters?
Yeah, where like you can get on there and certain weird invitations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to basically read those in like a sexy voice. And that's going to be like videos that we do.
And that's epic. I think that is a wonderful idea, because a lot of them are like,
right?
oh my gosh, like, ew. And then put the picture on the side or whatever, like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean,
and then after, I'm going to read recipes. So like, I'll be like, heat the oven to 475 degrees Fahrenheit. How like recipes can be like, oops, recipes can be like really sexy.
I think, like food porn, huh? Like food porn?
Food porn, exactly. So this is going to be our channel, right? And so we kind of like have been tossing out ideas on Periscope, kind of getting some feedback, like, hey, what do you think of this idea? Give hearts. That's the thing on Periscope. If you like something, you can give someone hearts.
Oh.
So that's why, like, if you look on people's profiles, you'll be like, how many hearts does this person have? And if they've never done a Periscope, they have 1 heart. So when you first start out, you have 1 single heart. And then if you do Periscopes and people like them, they'll push the heart button and you'll get more hearts. And then you'll get more hearts. And you'll keep getting hearts. And then, so you can kind of use that as like feedback. So if people like what you're doing, they'll give you hearts. So I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this idea? And they'll be like, heart, 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 or they won't give you any. And you, that's not a good idea.
It's like your little analytics then, like what's going in and what's not, like whether or not the person's liking the things or not liking it then.
Exactly. So it's kind of fun too. I like getting the hearts.
Right.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to get the hearts?
Hearts seem like it seems like a good thing to have, As far as like this setup, how many videos are you allowed to have on the Periscope? I know on YouTube, I don't know how many videos we can have saved on our accounts, but how many on Periscope till it's like, no more, you need to delete some, or like how does that work?
I honestly don't know the answer to that. Like, I've seen people who have like 200. So I'm going to say a lot, probably, potentially. I don't want to like, don't quote me on this. Like, it could be an infinite amount. It could be like a set amount. I don't know. But like I said, I've seen people who had like 200. So I don't think that like the old rules, apparently like you could only have so many, but now I feel like you can have really as many as you want. So you can kind of like keep a fair amount on there. And honestly, like the way Periscope is designed, like if you do like I'll do these things called quick lunch scopes. They're like maybe 5-10 minutes. I don't normally keep them on there because the thing about Periscope is, yeah, you can leave up a replay if it's like a really good scope, but it's more in the moment. So where YouTube, you leave up the video, people can continuously watch it. Periscope is more like, hey, I'm doing this, follow me, and you can actively watch me do it. You can almost, it's kind of like a secret. Like you don't really want to leave it up all the time because it's kind of like, if you want to see me, come see me live. Like, hey, I'm doing this right now. come see it. And that's what I tend to do. Like, I don't leave up all of my Periscopes because I'm kind of like, well, if you weren't here live, then I don't want you to see the replay. You can tune in live next time. It's kind of an opportunity.
That makes so much sense. It's like a force of cause and demand, like a supply and demand, if you will.
Exactly.
That's very powerful. Like, so what kind of people have you met on Periscope, and what exactly do they do?
Well, like I said, I've met one of my closest friends right now. His name is Drew. He's a hypnotist. I met another friend. His name is John. He's also a hypnotist. I've met musicians. This one, like, guitar player. I've met just regular people too. I don't want to say everyone's name because I don't know if everyone wants to be mentioned. But I have like certain people that'll come in to like pretty much every single scope and be like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? So you kind of meet people from all walks of life. You can meet people who are obviously, entertainers trying to promote their products, trying to like appeal to multiple audiences on different platforms. But then you're also meeting like everyday people like, hey, what's up? I had a good work day. How was your work day? So you kind of meet regular people, you kind of meet entertainers, you kind of just meet everyone. And like I said, I have like different people that I actually have relationships with now, which is actually kind of cool.
Wow. Like, so, and now I know on the bio, on your opening on your YouTube says that you're a water specialist.
Yeah.
So have you been able to use Periscope? Have you had any people ask you anything much about water on Periscope? I mean, like, it's kind of like I mean, who doesn't want to ask you a question? I mean, like, how's that?
Well, I have a story with that, and it kind of makes me sad. But so I did a Ask Me Anything water quality professional Periscope, and I was really excited. And I was like, because there's all those issues in like Flint, Michigan. There's stuff about
the water with all the lead in the water and stuff like that. I mean, like,
lead.
It's a crazy topic. I would like to jump on to the new topic. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions about this topic, leave it in the comment box. We'll be able to read them. It's on live time stream, and we're gonna actually be talking about water quality.
Oh, I love water quality. Oh my gosh, I hope people actually have questions. I did a Periscope about it, and there was one person who kept asking me these great questions, and I was so happy. And I'll actually give the name because his name isn't a real name. His name is Chicken Sandwich. And I was so empowered and so happy. I'm like, wow. And he's like, you really love water quality. And I'm like, yeah, man, I really do. And I felt so good. I was like, even if I can just help one person, like, it really empowered me. But then a few days later, he invited me to you can invite people to a private scope if you want. So say you just want to have like a personal one-on-one conversation with someone, you can do a private scope. But he invited me to a private scope, and it was a vulgar one.
Oh.
And so I told him, I'm like, oh, Chicken Sandwich, you broke my heart. I was so sad because I was just like, Chicken Sandwich, I'm married. I just thought that you were a wholesome chicken sandwich. You just wanted to learn about water quality. But he wasn't. He was a dirty chicken sandwich.
I see. And so like you get to make the whole like spin inside of things. Like so within like a Periscope, it's almost like practice, I guess if you will, like, right? You get to like be yourself and be exactly yourself on the screen, and everyone gets to take it in. It's pretty awesome.
It is. And like I said, I love being able to share things with different people. Like I said, since my friends are hypnotists, they'll do like an Ask a Hypnotist. I was like, I'm going to do an Ask a Water Quality Professional. And this guy actually asked some really great questions. Like, because, there's the whole issue with lead in the water. Well, one of the reasons why lead got into the water is because they changed the water source. So they changed the source. I think it went from like Detroit to a different one or whatever. And what they didn't do is they didn't change the water treatment process. And one thing you have to do based off of, I don't want to go too crazy scientific, but basically water can be corrosive. Okay, so the pH can be a certain level. If it's too high, meaning too basic, or too low, meaning too acidic, it can cause corrosion, so of the pipes, and then that's going to get into the water. If they're lead pipes, which a lot of older places have, that's going to get into the water. One thing that the place that I work at and the place that I live at, we do something called a corrosion inhibitor. So inhibitor meaning it stops it from getting into the water. So it's like a coating on the pipes that prevents something like lead from getting into the water. And you're supposed to be dosing that at a certain amount based off of the needs of the utility and of the distribution system. And Flint didn't do that because it's costly.
I see. What kind of effects happen to people that do have lead in their water? What kind of things might you see out of a person with lead in their water?
Okay, so so lead is the type of like metal that can accumulate in your body, so it'll get into your fat, and then over time it's going to build up, it's going to accumulate in your fat tissues, and it'll leach out. It can cause cancer. It can cause, a whole bunch of different issues. I know back in the day they stopped using lead paint because kids would like eat the paint chips, and it makes them very, very sick. So to be drinking it, it has the same effect. So it basically, in simple terms, it can cause people to be very sick and die. So even though it's costly to dose like a corrosion inhibitor, it also prevents people from dying. So
yeah, it's a must.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's constantly like so many things now that are coming up in water quality. Like, I don't know if you heard about the whole chromium 6. Yes,
a little bit about it. Can you give us some more information?
I can.
Awesome.
So basically, so the EPA, so the Environmental Protection Agency, so because we're U.S. based, the Environmental Protection Agency regulates different chemicals, and one of the things that they do regulate for is total chromium. They currently do not have a regulation for chromium 6, but total chromium is the combination of chromium 3, which is actually good for you and is essential in your diet. So where they don't specifically regulate chromium 6, they regulate total chromium. But there might at some point be a regulation for chromium 6. And the reason why this is important is because it's a carcinogen, so it can cause cancer. So the way the EPA found this out, they do something called UCMR. So what does that stand for? Unregulated contaminant monitoring rule. So
very
basically,
good. Very good job.
Yeah, it took me a minute. So they ask all the utilities, like in America. I don't know if they do this in other countries or not, but they basically say, hey, this might be something in water. Let's do some analysis for it. And then there's a monitoring period of about 18 months. And this was tested for in UCMR 3. We're actually going to be starting UCMR 4 in 2018. And one of the chemicals that they asked us to test for was chromium 6. And then they took all of that data and they found different areas that had levels. And at this point, it's not regulated. So they're taking this information and they're figuring out, okay, what are we going to do with this information? They have animal studies on chromium 6, but they don't actually have human studies. And basically, they need to take all this information, the data received from the utilities, the animal studies, and say, hey, we might want to regulate this. And if so, what is the regulation going to be? And then that'll be passed on to us, and then we'll be required to stay within certain limits.
So then they're going to just have to try it out. I wonder how they're, so like on a human, do they just, will there be volunteers to try out this?
Oh, no. They won't do humans. That's like a whole like ethical thing. They won't test on humans.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? Like, I don't know anymore like going on with what's going on in the government, them doing a lot of the stuff that they do and Monsanto's.
If they do, they're not telling us about it. That's like a secret thing. Shh. I work for the government, but I don't work for that deep of government.
we had a question from Drew Bisanti. I can't pronounce his last name. He says, yeah, he says, if your water is rusty-like color, doesn't that mean it's bad to drink?
No, and that is a great question, Drew. So that discoloration, that rust that you're seeing is iron. So iron in and of itself is actually not bad for you. It actually can help prevent breast cancer. And as it is October and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, fun tip. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we need to do, people. Breast cancer awareness, save lives. But to talk about the rust in and of itself, it's not a primary standard that the EPA regulates. It's a secondary standard, which is still a health and safety standard. But what that basically means is it doesn't taste great, doesn't look great, but it's not necessarily bad for you per se. Now, I'm not going to say, go drink rusty water, but it's not necessarily.
Like, go have a glass right now, right?
But there's certain levels that we have to stay within. So these numbers don't really mean anything to people except for me, but like the turbidity of water, so like the particles in the water. So if the water is discolored, that would mean it's turbid. It has to be below 1 NTU, and that's just units. It's just a number. That means something to me. That's not really going to mean anything to anyone else. And then iron has to be below 0.3 milligrams per liter. Like I said, for someone in science, they'd be like, oh, okay, I know what that means. But for someone else, they're like, oh, I don't know what that means. Basically, we have different numbers we have to stay below. It's all regulated by the EPA. So, and it's also state regulated too. So the EPA sets a federal standard, and then states can choose to be stricter. They can't be more lax. They can only restrict it more. So like fluoride, for example. Fluoride is like such a big thing.
Right. That's a very big thing. Like if you Alex Jones, he has conspiracy theorists. They call him a conspiracy theorist. Alex Jones. He talks about fluoride in the water and then stuff like that. It seems to be a very, very big issue on lots of I guess ex-New World Order people that don't believe in that whole movement, people that don't like that thing. Can you give us some information
about fluoride?
Please.
So I don't know anything about the whole conspiracy in regards to it, or conspiracy theorists, but I can tell you that fluoride is basically dosed in water to prevent tooth decay. So that's the only reason. The only reason why fluoride is in the water is for dental reasons. So it's
it doesn't dumb us down like the fluoride. It doesn't make us stupid.
You just said chloride. We're talking about fluoride.
No, fluoride. Doesn't the fluoride doesn't it make you stupid, right? Like, doesn't it cause like that kind of thing? Or
I mean, I don't think that I'm incredibly smart, but I don't think I'm dumb. And I drink fluoridated water. And then this is another thing too that people don't necessarily realize. Like, yeah, I'm currently drinking bottled water. This is tap water. Just because it's in a bottle, most bottles, if you look at the small print, it says, like, source, tap water from blah, blah, blah. So anyone, if you ever drink bottled water, take the time to actually look where it's from. I can guarantee you, you're probably drinking tap water from another utility. So instead of paying cents from your faucet, you're paying $1, $2 for bottled tap water from another place. And the problem is, what?
I said I've been hoodwinked.
It really, like, people are like, oh, I only drink bottled water. I'm like, it's tap water. And I'll literally, like, I'll grab the bottle and I'll show them, I'm like, the source says tap water from, like, blah, blah, blah. I showed one of my friends this, and they're like, what? Are you serious? And I'm like, yes, you're drinking tap water, but you're paying more money for it. And the thing is so tap water is regulated by the EPA. Bottled water is regulated by the FDA, which does not have the regulations that the EPA has. It's much, much more lax. So you might be drinking something that you really don't want to be drinking.
Oh, wow. Inside the bottle?
Keep that in mind.
Inside the bottled water, or is this wow?
We'll put it into perspective. So we put chlorine in the water to kill bacteria. Chlorine dissipates with heat. Where did this come from? This came from, whatever source it came from. So whatever utility it originally came from.
Well, I know a lot of the bottled waters, they say like it comes from the spring mountains. It comes from the spring,
That's like the super expensive stuff. I'm not even kidding. Regular bottled water you get from the store is from another utility. It says it on the bottle. And the best part about it is like, think about it like this. So chlorine dissipates with heat. Chlorine is used to kill bacteria. So all the bad stuff. This is sitting in a hot truck, in a hot warehouse, potentially in a hot store before you start drinking it. So how do you actually know what's in it? This is actually tap water from the city. Like, I reuse these. So this is actually tap water right now.
No, but I mean, really the concept, right, when you're thinking about it on the packaging and stuff, and you said the chlorine goes in it to kill the germs and stuff, and it's been in the packaging for, well, nobody knows how long it's really been there. You know what I mean?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
I never
also,
really thought about
like, there's probably preservatives in this to some degree. Maybe not like intense preservatives. But
preservatives in the water?
Well, it may be in bottled water because, I mean, how else is it going to stay safe? I don't really know all the details about bottled water, but, I mean, I just know that chlorine dissipates with heat, and this is going through some heavy, like I said, a hot truck, a hot warehouse before it actually gets to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear that breakdown? The breakdown of the water bottle. It's pretty powerful. Like, and chlorine dissipates with heat. Wow. Jeez. Well, I'm gonna check back through this chat room before we get off here. We've been on here for almost about an hour. We only had that one question from Drew about the rust in the water, but that was still a good question. Now, can you tell us a little bit where we can find you at on social media and things like that? Because I know a lot of people are going to want to connect with you. It's a lot of information come out of this, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to want to come up. If anyone has any questions about water, you can get a hold of her. If you have any other questions, I know that they're going to want to get a hold of you. Can you tell them how they might do so?
Sure. So my YouTube channel is just my name, Emily McGaw, MAGAW. My Periscope, I think, is also Emily McGaw. Let's see, my Instagram is MZSue, so EMZISUE. What else am I on? Twitter is also Emily McGaw. You can find me like that. Facebook, Emily McGaw. I try to keep it consistent throughout all my social media.
Yeah, very understandable. It's very, very understandable.
But yeah, my name's pretty easy, even though I will say most people mess up my married last name more than they messed up my maiden name, which is ridiculous because my maiden name is a lot more complicated and it's longer. I have no idea how they mess up 5 letters, but they do. MAGAW, people. McGaw.
What do they normally say? What's the most common that you normally get?
Oh my gosh. McGann, Magoo, McCall, McGraw. Like, people tend to add letters, and I'm like, why are you adding letters?
Where did that come from? Like, Magoo? Really? Ooh? Where's it?
I have no idea. And the best part about it is like, this is the thing. Like, I've had people I've done collaborations with, or like people do shout outs for my channel. They'll literally add letters to my name, and like, you can visually see it. It's right in front of you because we're on the internet.
I don't think she spelled her name right. I'll fix it for her.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, you're right. That's not my name at all. You're so right. Like, I was wrong.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. That's something else there. Oh man. Emily, I'd like to thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been very fun having a conversation that we did, covering what we did cover, and giving everyone else the information. It's just, I really appreciate you being on today.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a really great time.
I do hope that you'll be back on again, huh?
Definitely. Oh my gosh. Anytime. You invite me, I'll come.
Sweet. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great time. We've talked a little bit about Periscope, gave you all some information on how to use Periscope. We talked about water and the quality of water. That's some powerful stuff there. I wasn't really expecting to go into that. VR, that's something very important too. If you want to experience that, you can definitely experience that. Emily is going to be putting a video up on for her YouTube. Make sure you go check that out, where the shark's going to eat her. And I think that's going to be a very good experience, because it's almost as if you're there. And then watch it through Periscope. you know? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Itsmontez.com. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. You have a great day.